In 1.14, the Village and Pillage update, we met the arrival of two new villagers, the Jungle Villager and the Swamp Villager. But strangely, there is no jungle or swamp village to accompany them. And while Mojang have unfortunately confirmed we will never see a swamp or jungle village, at least for quite a while, there's no harm in trying to come up with some ourselves. And on top of that, I have 8 more village designs that ultimately didn't make it into the game. Let's see how they turned out. And before we get started, I'm just going to explain these will come in the order of their rarity, so which ones will be most common in the world, and which ones will be less likely to be found in any Minecraft survival world. But anyway, we're going to start off with the Birch Forest, and of course I haven't built every single villager house, but I've built a variety of houses just to give an example of what they might look like. Now this village would be very similar to the plains biome village we already have, except instead of any oak blocks, we would actually have birch blocks instead. So just as an example, we have a temple or a church, and once again it's exactly the same as the old one, except it's birch instead of oak. And I've also, just to mix it up a bit, instead of having the white and yellow patterning, I've changed the yellow with lime green. We also have one of the town centres with a bell and some market stalls. We also have a little farm here with wheat and the stripped birch logs. We have a small little house here. We have a farmer's house, I'm guessing, so they have the smoker here. And we also have another just small little cottage. Once again, this is a very simple design, and also the villagers would have exactly the same skins as the current plains villagers. But let me know how you think this turned out down below. Also, I'm not actually going for really good housing designs, just because I'm looking for designs that would fit into the game. But let me know if you want to see something like that in the future, where they are proper well-built houses. Next up, we have the Wandering Trader Village, and the villagers in this would actually have a design similar to the robes of the Wandering Trader. So they would be bluish, reddish, orangey villagers, and it would look really awesome in my opinion. Firstly, we have a farmer's hut. Now this is just made out of wood. It's similar to the original village design, and it has a top filled with llamas and sheep, just because you can imagine they're more mountainous animals, and it would be a good way for villagers to get their wool. Then out here we have a very small farm for villagers to get their farming trades, like this one. We have a little flower box, a well with a bell as the town centre, a cart with wheels, and we've never actually seen a design like this in the game. I think this would be really interesting, and overall it's just a very simple design. But my favourite design of the lot has got to be this tent. Now I know this doesn't really follow the traditional vanilla design, however I couldn't resist building this. It looks really cool in my opinion. I love the colours of this, and it would just be really awesome just to find in a simple plains biome like this. Just going along in the surroundings, a big burst of colour. I just think it really looks really nice and vibrant. Now we're getting into the slightly more uncommon designs, but here, to be honest, I might have gone a bit all out with the pillager spawns. But we have a pillager village. I mean, the piglins are getting their bastions, the villagers already have their villages, and if the wandering traders are going to get a village, why not give one to the pillagers? But yeah, these would be based around a pillager outpost, and it would be very likely for pillager outposts to have a small village surrounding them. We have pits for the ravagers, we have tents, we have all kinds of designs. Now we would actually have a brand new mob known simply as the Illager. These are all parts of the Illager species, but we don't have any Illagers that just don't have any weapons. So this would be a brand new style of villager that these guys wouldn't attack, but would also be able to interact with items similar to how villagers normally do. Other than that, this is a really awesome design in my opinion. It just has tents, marking the similar village designs like a blacksmith, a librarian. Once again, we have a temporary looking wooden church similar to the one we had in the wandering trader outpost, but this just looks like, once again, it could be moved at any time. A temporary set of accommodations, just with tents, very briefly set up cooking stations, all kind of things like that. I really like this design. Let me know what you think of it down below. And now we're moving into the slightly more uncommon villages. This would be a pirate village that would generate in any kind of beach biome, or on the edge of any ocean biome. And I think this looks really, really cool. I actually refurbished a shipwreck design and put a house in it for this one, and I'm really pleased with how it turned out. We have a little farm in the end of it, and it just looks really cool. We also have a church with a boat integrated into it as well, and another little, I guess this would be a farmer's house with a boat integrated into it once more. In the centre we have a village well. This is a brand new design, and I really love these designs of wells. We have some flower boxes, some decorations with some tropical fish that spawn naturally in these areas, a fishing net, and also some parrots just perched on their little seats here. We also have a pen filled with turtles and turtle eggs, and it would just be a really nice way to have loads of brand new the mobs in their own farming areas without actually having to add any more mobs. But I think this looks really interesting once again, and I wouldn't be opposed to this being added at all. We also have interiors in some of them, and this could just be a really interesting find for any player in survival mode. I promise this is the last one we're going to be having in a plains biome, but I couldn't resist making a castle village. I mean, I know this is a very, very basic design for a castle, but I can really imagine this actually generating in a survival world with the slightly taller roof designs rather than the normal designs like that one. It just looks really cool, and I can totally imagine it being in the game. But around it we just have some houses and some towers here and there. On the inside we have a really large path winding around all of the houses, and in excuse me, in every single house we have an interior. This one would be a leatherworkers and a Fletchers. We could possibly have more than one profession in each house. This one is more of a church design because it has a tower integrated into it. This one is more of a farmer's cottage, and this one here, I guess, is more of a librarian's, maybe? Yeah, more of a librarian. So, all of these are really awesome designs. Once again, it would just use the plain villagers for this one. However, it does look really cool. You could have designs like this here, like a beacon. Just so many different ideas you can come up with in this kind of village design. Don't worry, I am going to be doing the swamp village, and here it is. It looks really, really awesome in my opinion. In fact, it's probably one of my favourite designs for this one, and this one would probably be about as common, or maybe slightly less common than your average witch's hut. So, at the end here we have a church. As you can see, these have actually equipped the swamp design, which I think looks really cool. I love the purple mixed with the green leafy aesthetic. It looks really nice. We have actually houses on stilts here rather than paths integrated into the ground. We have wooden stilts here. I love this design for the farms over here with carrots and potatoes, and you can see the farmers recently put them into the composter. Over here we have a fisherman's hut with some barrels and things like that, and you could have some chests filled with loot here and there. We have a little farmer's house, and I guess it would be a bit odd in a swamp biome, but I guess you do have to have every single profession there is. So here's your farmer's house, and then here we have more of a librarian's house here. This one is a much larger design, and I think this one looks really nice and fits in really well with the general aesthetic. Now we're getting into the rare designs, so these would be pretty unique to find. You wouldn't find these too commonly. In fact, to be honest, most of these match the biomes because the biomes are rare as well. But these look really cool in my opinion. Here we have a Mesa village. So we have, it's similar to the design of the Plains village rather than the desert village, and I think it looks really cool. So we have the red sandstone design mixed in with some terracotta here and there. We have a farmer's house here with the cows in the little farming area here. We have a farm here with the composter in the centre, a well made out of the red sandstone, which looks really unique compared to the oak roof we've given it at the top. In here we have a librarian's house, and overall this is just a very simple design once again, but it would be very uncommon and nice to find in a survival world. And as I mentioned the swamp, I guess we do have to include the jungle biome here, which looks, I'm so happy with how this turned out. It just looks really, really unique in my opinion, and well, people probably have done designs like this in the past. I can totally imagine this being in the game as a variant of the village, although this would probably be pretty difficult to generate. As you can see, we have these jungle wood platforms around each tree. We have farming areas with bamboo right on the top of these smaller trees, I guess. We have a beetroot farm here, I guess. I don't know why I picked beetroot, but I picked it, so there's nothing you can do. And then here we have a small little den actually. We haven't actually gone for too many proper houses. We do have one here and there, like the blacksmith one we have. But most of them are just little huts here with the librarians and the farmers and the butchers. But yeah, overall this is a really fun design. I love how it turned out. Let me know what other villages you'd like to see down below that could make use of this kind of design. I've actually got one coming up. I can't wait to get onto that. I'm going to be honest with you, this is probably the one I'd be least likely to live in real life. But in Minecraft, this would be an awesome village to stay in. Not because it looks really unique and fantasy-like, but also because no mobs would actually spawn here. Because this would be in a mushroom biome, and already the mushroom biome is incredibly rare. So this would be much rarer than everything else. We've got into the biomes that are so rare now. But these would just have some really unique houses integrated into the mushrooms themselves. We have some mixed in with the brown mushrooms, some mixed in with the red mushrooms, and overall it just looks really lovely in my opinion. You could also have these generating in dark oak forests, and while you'd probably have to have a clearing in the forest itself, you could really find these mixed in with the giant mushrooms that spawn in there as well. But overall I think this is once again a really cool looking design. I love how these houses turned out, and they are a really unique style of house with the spotty colours and the brown tops to them. It just looks really interesting in my opinion, and it allows for a really different range of palettes in any kind of build. Can you guess what the rarest of these villages would be? It would be incredibly rare. Mostly because the biome itself is so rare. I've never actually seen one in survival Minecraft before. But an ice spikes village. These biomes are surprisingly extraordinary looking. I mean, look at these. Look at how good they look. But as I said, I've gone back to the platform design around the giant ice spikes. This looks so cool in my opinion. You could have village centres with statues here with the bells. You can have ladders in the village. And if you didn't know, villagers actually can climb ladders, so it would actually function. So you could have houses similar to the spruce biome village houses right at the base of these two, just to make them a bit larger. Because as you can see, this one is a bit on the small side. You can have bridges connecting two different ice spikes. So you could have a farm here. You could have a crop farm here with some chests and a bed and things like that. You could even have a little wooden church on the side of it, because let's be honest, if it was stone, this tower here would probably be down there. It would be a bit heavy, wouldn't it? But anyway, I really love how this design turned out. let me know what you think of all of the designs down below, and let me know any designs you think I might have missed out, any biomes you think should really have a village to themselves. But anyway, thank you for watching, I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please as usual leave any suggestions down below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.